More jungle changes, catch-up XP, scuttle AD nerfs. I guess it's time to relearn the roles again. What's up, Summoners? My name is Nathan Ng, and today we're going to be taking a look at the life of a jungle main. Alright, so it may sound cheesy, but at the moment, jungle is under fire, and for good reason. The role itself has gone through a lot. We can only imagine what the players feel like when Riot attempts to make the role better for newer players, even if it costs a lot for some of the veterans. Jungle has always been known for a role that can impact the map the most. While other lanes are forced to rely on one jungler, the jungler themselves has 3 lanes that they can choose to play around. This is what truly defines jungle as a role, since it can easily impact every part of the map. Sure, top can teleport to other lanes and mid can roam, but jungle is able to do it all as they take objectives, kill the enemy, and gank all the lanes that they want. The impact that the junglers hold is what often players link to being one of the easiest roles alongside the most impactful. However, this couldn't be more false. While it is true that jungle has the highest impact in the game, it's pretty far from being the easiest role. Sure, at a base level, jungle is just PvE clearing your jungle from top to bottom and then occasionally pulling off some ganks. But there is so much more to this role. If you mess up your clear path, you can fall behind in experience. Waste too much time contemplating a gank, now your entire bot side is gone to the enemy jungler. Didn't track the enemy Nidalee properly, now you're dead at your blue. There's so much to keep track of the jungle if you want to truly master the role, and that's what makes it so difficult. From setting up proper ganks to counter jungling to grabbing objectives, jungle is far more than what a lot of people give it credit for. Jungle is only the shadow of what it once was, and it seems like it's only getting further away from the original playstyle, but we'll talk about that more later. A few seasons ago, jungle was known as one of, if not the hardest role in the game, as it demanded so much from its players. Whether it was knowing the different camp timers, being punished for not kiting your camps, or falling behind too hard, the jungle was pretty unforgiving as a balance to how powerful it could be. This high skill ceiling is also what gives jungle such a great name. It allowed for a ton of skill expression as you were forced to face its complexity with zero remorse. I'm not sure how many of you remember, but junglers always used to struggle significantly on their first clear and could often barely survive. Now they can often clear twice as fast while still ending up with full health. The skill behind the jungle has slowly diluted as Riot aimed to make the role feel more accessible for the newer players. The issue with this is that the role has lost a lot of its meaning. Gone are the days of having to kite camps and be efficient with clear time. Now you can pick different champions like Rumble or Morgana and clear with ease while also keeping your health topped off. If you were worried about tracking the enemy jungler being difficult, now every camp is worth 4 CS and has the same cooldown, which means it's easier than ever to know exactly how the enemy path. Maybe you're somebody who just doesn't like farming at all. Well, you can spam gank lanes and keep up with experience due to the XP gains in lanes being so massive. Overall, the role has slowly lost its skillful nature and is on its way becoming more simple, with Riot's plan changes towards making it easier to catch up when you fall behind as a jungler. We'll cover more about the role and Riot's plan of making it more accessible in a bit, but first, let's cover our question of the day. What jungle meta did you personally find to be the most fun? While I didn't personally participate in it, I think the double jungle meta was super interesting and weird. That being said, I liked it because it was super creative and a smart way for players to use a new strategy to win games. Let us know your answers in the comments down below. Anyway, let's talk about what's making the role more accessible and how it looks like. Throughout the years, Riot has slowly made it clear that they want the jungle to be more accessible to newer players. This means making it less punishing and far easier to grasp the role so players don't have to find it as frustrating to learn. While it is great that they're looking to open up the jungle to newer players, the amount of skill being taken away from the role is nothing less than astounding. Many agree that players, especially those that unlock Smite as a summoner spell, shouldn't have to die to their camps multiple times. However, there's a difference between making the role easier and a lot more simple. And then there's always taking away the parts that make it masterful once you decide to dedicate the time to the role. Alongside this, it's a bit redundant that Riot wants to make jungle a significantly more accessible role because of their approach. At least once every few months, the jungle changes, and if not, it becomes completely reworked. Whether it's items, experience changes, meta, clear paths, etc., jungle is one that is constantly changing, and unironically, this makes it harder for players to pick up the role. Just imagine that you commit all of your time towards mastering a role just for it to make a 180 and wastes a lot of your time. By making the role more simple for people to pick up, Riot is also making it harder for those that have already taken the time to learn the role. A lot of pro players have even spoken out about this. They said that if they weren't professional players, they find it extremely difficult and a waste of time to relearn the jungle every few patches. It's time consuming and can make you feel like you wasted a lot of your skill set on doing the wrong things. Time consuming and a waste of time. Sounds like my last relationship. For example, if you learned how the jungle and your playstyle was based around counter jungling and killing the enemy jungler, well, after a patch that nerfed the jungle experience and increased the lane experience, your strategy is no longer as powerful because the enemies that spam gank will now have the advantage. This means that you either have to significantly adapt your playstyle on your champions, or you have to drop them completely so you can pick up another one in order to climb and actually have fun. It just seems extremely counterproductive. For the jungle to become more accessible to newer players, it first has to become extremely inaccessible and force adaptation for veterans or worse, people who have less than a few months of mastering the role. Just imagine if you made mid and played mages, then suddenly mid became catered to only AD carries, and now you have to learn those champions or simply lose the game. Overall, yes, it's a difficult thing to manage, and we hope that Riot is doing their best, but at times, it feels like they're ignoring those who put the time and effort into learning the role, while catering to those who are new to the game and may not even stick to it. I just know that if I was a new player and tried to learn the jungle, I would drop the role after one change, especially if it has had a history of constant reworks. Next up, we've got how the jungle meta shifts around massively when compared to the other roles, as well as the mental warfare that the community has built around the role. But before we get into that, if you enjoy informative think pieces like these, be sure to check us out at ProGuides.com, where you can get your rank grind to the next level and stay up to date with courses made by some of your favorite pro players. And if that's not your thing, you can get in contact with the Challenger coach and help them take your game up a notch so you can go ahead and finally reach your dream rank. If you've never tried ProGuides before, don't be afraid to check us out. Nonetheless, let's hop right back into the video. While we covered a ton of issues with the way that Riot is looking to make jungle more accessible, we've got to talk about the state of the jungle meta. At the moment, jungle meta is simply anyone who can clear quickly and gank easily. Alongside this, Riot pushed out champions like Diana, Morgana, and Rumble with the buffs to their jungle clears in order to force them into the jungle. Not only did this cause some chaos as they were far too powerful, but also put the jungle in a relatively sad state. It almost seemed like Riot didn't want to fix the jungle and instead put the resources into introducing more champions into the jungle that are already overpowered. Regardless, even if we ignore the current jungle meta, jungle itself has always had a pretty cut and dry meta that drastically shifts. While the other roles like ADC may have certain categories like a hyper carry meta or early game oriented carries, the jungle completely flips its meta with any changes that it runs into. For example, the jungle favored farm heavy junglers like Fiddlesticks, Evelynn, Karthus, and etc., which made them extremely strong, as well as a few champions that could just invade and stop them. However, this means if you mained a gank heavy champion, it may as well been an FF if you chose them. This is because the nature of the jungle means the meta shifts incredibly hard all at once. It's not like the other roles where you can continue to play a champion and find decent success. Instead, you'll struggle through the meta if not completely get destroyed by it due to the way the experience functions. If the meta is super gank heavy and the XP changes are sent out to push that, then I'm sorry, but playing an AFK jungler is just going to be fairly difficult. You'll likely fall behind because even though you have double the enemy's CS, you're still going to be down a level since they've gained a lot of experience from ganks. This only further pushes the role away from feeling accessible, as newer players are going to have to be forced to constantly adapt to the changes. And if they don't adapt in time, they'll simply drop the role due to its difficulty since their champion pool is no longer fitting the meta. Imagine that you put all your time into Evelynn and then suddenly make it so that jungle experience is super low until later on to the game. Well, now you won't be hitting level 6 by AFK farming unless you farm for a long time, and by then, the enemy Nunu will have 2 levels up on you and would have ganked 6 times. It's small things like this that can make it very infuriating for jungle veterans as well as players looking to dedicate their time to the role. While it is unclear what a proper solution could possibly be, it's fairly clear that making the role more accessible is not only diluting the skill necessary, but also increasing the amount of patience, endurance, and adaptability his player base must have if they want to pick up the role. And I can assure you, anybody who has recently started League will not want to play 3D chess for a role where they get blamed for everything. Or they can casually play mid and pick Orianna and be fairly okay. Don't forget, if you want to join an amazing community of people like you that just love lists and talking pieces like this, check out our Discord using the link found in the description. We offer a lot of cool stuff for free, as well as some great high elo players in our question and answer sessions. Also, you could go ahead and hang out and talk with me, if that's what you want to do. So anyway, what are you waiting for? Join up today. Nonetheless, that sums up our video for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to join our ProGuides family at ProGuides.com. We offer exclusive giveaways and classes that you won't catch anywhere else, so stay tuned and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next video, and don't forget, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a wonderful day. Peace.